Hi, everybody. This is Jennifer Langsdale over here in Menor, Ohio. And I've been trying to compilate some little talks to motivate my students, to keep everybody grounded on this path that we're currently on in these times. And this morning, a colleague had me do a video for my yoga studio. And my encouragement to my students right around this time is to go into that space of impermanence. And impermanence, right now is an interesting facet. It's a consistent facet in part of the living process. And a lot of people are quoting over and over again, uncertainty, uncertainty, uncertainty. But the whole idea of uncertainty is to get us to explore the facet of impermanence. So you have a certain amount of intelligence already to understand the language of the word impermanence, just by hearing that. Might have prompted you already to be like, oh yeah, right? That this is a huge part of our growth of celebration of life. Okay. So when an impermanence comes at us, so think of it from a child perspective, right? Your children so easily, and you having been a child at one point in your life, had this organic process of growth, right? So children, start these little babies, and then they explore, their legs, and they start to move and feed themselves and speak and language, and all this change happens. And children just embrace all of that growth and all of that exploration that impermanence really celebrates in life. Look at Mother Nature, right? Everything is always in flux. So today you're going to go out, it's springtime, right? It's April 7th or something like that. And you're going to go outside and you're going to see, if you're in my part of the world, little buds on the trees, right? And then within an hour, within a minute, within a day, that is all going to completely change, and it's going to look different, right? So you have to trust the organic process of life. When we hold on, right? When we hold on, so then we can go back to our analogy of our children, right? Favorite toy, favorite blanket. And we start to tell our children that's their favorite blanket, that's their favorite toy. Okay, they've already decided that they're going to pick up that blanket and use it all the time. But when we start to force feed them that's their favorite blanket, that they can't go anywhere without it, they can't do anything without it, and we continue to say these things, and you can hear it in my voice. My voice got higher, more up in my head, less in my heart. And you start to push these attachments, right? Let's just say that. Just like our work setting pushes us, with these attachments, like you're going to get a raise, you're going to get a bonus, you're going to get a better desk, you're going to get a better piece of equipment if you do this, if you do that. Now all these attachments start to happen. So when we have attachment, okay, we are not celebrating that idea of impermanence and that cyclicalness that life gives us, which is so beautiful. So that way, I mean, life has created this natural process for us to be able to start at one point, explore, right? Maybe we find a midway, and here we are looking down at where we started and go, oh wow, I've come along, learning a lot, but oh, here I am again, and here I go, and then we're back to the center point again, and we've maybe graduated a circle, right? Maybe we've taken what we've learned and we've developed and cultivated these skills, and then, oh, now it's time to move on, new circle. But then some of us, let's say all of us, come on, are we all Buddhas or Dalai Lamas? I mean, even the Dalai Lama will admit that he's had health issues, and he's said, I'm not a magician. So what happens is sometimes we repeat the same cycle several times, right? Most of us do this through jobs, through relationships, through any life facet that you've taken on. Oh, a lot of times you got to repeat the wheel in order to figure it out. So And this is okay. This is that celebration again, the celebration of impermanence, of knowing, well, it's not always going to be this way, right? So I find that present moment, returning back to it is always our gift, right? You've heard that statement over and over again. Present moment is a gift. And that is never the truer. So when we celebrate impermanence, we're drawn and we're attracted to the present moment because we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. So how about we engage at this time and we see with that 360 degrees, silical view, and embrace that and hold space for that. Human doers do not hold space. Human beings hold space. So for example, you're upset about something, okay? And right now your major form of communication is this, right? And all of a sudden you put that attitude out there and the reaction happens, right? Everybody's got something to say about it. Everybody's got an opinion. You've just pissed off 100 people, or you've also drawn people back into that place of discontentment. Okay, and that's their choice. These are all their choices, right? You're not responsible for their choices. You're only responsible for your choices, but you are responsible for your choice of what you're putting out there. So the domino effect happens, right? And that can happen on the opposite. Okay, what I put out there, right? You are what you think. You are what you eat. You are what you think. So if you put out there in that realm of you are what you think, okay, I think I am content. I think I am holding space for myself, my family, the domino effect, right down the line. And then you drop it down into, I love holding space for my family, my friends, and then you drop it even lower. I feel I am holding space. And then you become this person who's actually integrating in their being, in their psychological being, in their spiritual being. All these free gifts that the universe is giving you as a human being to become in touch with, okay? This lifetime that you're in, okay? The things you're attached to, your physical possessions, your material possessions, your financial well-being, your accounts, okay, your things, your car, okay, how efficiently things are going. All of these attachments are really dangerous to us as human beings. They turn us into the human doer. So the doer goes out into the world and only knows one thing, okay, and it keeps us low in the totem pole of our consciousness. So when we're low in the totem pole of our consciousness, this is what we do, okay? And it's not bad. Like, it's not bad to want to go in the world and survive and take care of your family, but it's only one facet of our survival. It's only one facet of who we are as human beings is survival, okay? Go into the world, put a roof over your head, shelter and food. But how we do that is the offspring. Do we do it ethically? Do we do it with Mother Earth's approval? Do we do it in a way that sees everybody around us and not just us, right? Because there's a whole lot of I constantly happening in the present moment. I have to go to work. I have to do the dishes. I have to do this again. I have to take him to practice. Blah, blah, blah. I. Does it sound good? Does it sound healthy when you sound like that? We've all sounded like that, okay? But we have to take that self-responsibility of change, of celebrating impermanence, of understanding like it doesn't have to be this way, right? When you hear yourself speak the same thing over and over again, there's so much power to that, right? So if you constantly speak in the language of I am a victim, okay, a victim of my own doing, right? Or you speak in that language of I am compassionate, I am kind, I am patient, I am focused, I am aware, okay? I accept. I am accepting of others. I am accepting of me and who I am and my own choices. The power is endless that you give to yourself in order to survive in a world that constantly wants to take our power away from us because people don't have this kind of training or this kind of awareness or these kind of skills. We have to give ourselves that power back. So one thing I'm constantly giving to my clients when I'm working privately with people or I'm teaching a group class is I am taking my power back, right? And it might sound selfish to some people, like, oh, what does that mean? Whoo, she's on her high horse. Not at all. Because if everybody celebrates their own personal power, then everybody has what they need to progress in their consciousness, right? So if we stop at my personal power is growing stronger every day, or I'm taking my power back when we feel like we've let it back, that's us leaking our power, right? We give our power away all the time. We give it away to the victimhood, to the woundology of life. We do it all the time. We like to dwell, we're human doings. But when we're human beings, we're proactive about that. We celebrate the process of impermanence and we dig in and we are able to sit with awareness of what feels good or bad. But if you read any books about consciousness, about life consciousness, about how we're hardwired in the universe, what we'll see is that there is absolutely no like, no dislike, no black, no white. There's a gray area of our living existence that we need to become masters of, right? Have you ever read the Four Agreements? If you haven't, this is great stuff you could be looking into if you have more time right now. Hopefully you're totally underscheduled right now. And if that's agitating to you to not have that facet of doing, that human doingness, that's a form of attachment that needs to be released. That's your stuff sitting right there. And how do you celebrate it, right? Celebrate your stuff. It's you, it's your junk drawers, page through the book of your life and go, whoa, I need to tear that page out and this page out and this page out and get rid of it, right? We have to celebrate it. So the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, fantastic little book, very manageable to read. And the first one is don't take it personal, right? Taking things personal develops an offspring of attachments. Be impeccable with your word. This is a big thing. This is a big deal. We are not impeccable with our word with ourselves. And then, of course, when it comes to others, that can really sabotage a lot of relationships in many levels. So if you say you're going to do something, then do it, right? And develop that grounded wisdom of knowing that, somebody in the world benefits from you having done something you said you were going to do. And then, of course, for yourself as well. Right? Be impeccable with your word. Always do your best. And the one thing I liked that Ruiz said in his book is on certain days, your best is going to look like this. And on certain days, your best might look like this, if you can see my hands. Right? So we function, again, we're celebrating impermanence, right? So we function on that level of knowing that some days my best looks like this. Right? La-di-da, lights, sparklers, fireworks. And then on the next day, my life looks like this. My energy is a little low, maybe I overdid it yesterday. So you can give yourself that permission to slow down, okay? One of the other pillars in his wisdom, the fourth one, I don't know if I said them in order or not, but is to never make assumptions, right? And that's a really important facet. The never make assumptions ties into yoga and meditation in the aspect of the third eye chakra. The third eye, every chakra has a demon. You don't have to know anything about chakras, but one of the demons we face as human doers is illusion. We make the story up, right? And we decide how we see the players' roles, through that story in our life. There's a lot of storytelling going on right now because people are communicating at such high volumes of putting little notes out there. So if you could contemplate your responsibility into what gets put out there in this way. Carolyn Miss said in her book, Anatomy of the Spirit, can you imagine the global impact if you were to think a thought and it manifested true, right? So then we become really conscious thinkers, and our input and our output becomes so much more mindful and so much more connected to the higher consciousness stuff: kindness, compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, love, all these things that we respect and value in our spiritual leaders, our true spiritual leaders. Okay. These are all facets of things that they're known for, right? Their constant givedom, right? Their wisdom and their ability to give and their ability to share in a prolific way that connects to so many people. But what happens when the discussion's done? What happens when they get up and they reintegrate back into the world? That's you, right? I'm a yoga teacher. I've been teaching yoga for over 15 years. And in my early 20s, when I found the practice of yoga and what it was delivered to me in, the package that it came to me in, right? It's always different. It's impermanence. Everybody would say, on the mat, on the mat, on the mat. So there's all this attention and attachment to the mat. And to be honest, I was never a fan of that offering, right? Like on the mat, on the mat, on the mat. And I'm thinking, it's just a mat, right? It's nothing. It's just a piece of PVC rolled out in all these different colors. And hell, it costs a lot of friggin' money to buy one of them things. And what the hell? So I was already rejecting an attachment that yoga teachers had to the mat, to the mat, to the mat. So then, then you would hear some language where it would say, well, the real practice happens off the mat, right? Because Westerners are so connected to the mat. And that's true. The real practice happens all the time. Life is your practice. Your 1 hour yoga class is really about you getting some tools and skills. It's not about the 1 hour a week I get a piece. It's the 1 hour a week I get to do something for me. No, that's not fucking true. Okay. That's your choice to make it that 1 hour a week. What's true is that 1 hour is if you have a mindful practice space, if you're with well-equipped teachers with good tools. These teachers will be giving you cues and tools and skills for you to use in the 23 hours a day that you're not in that one place where you can give yourself that permission to not be doing something, right? The human doer can go away and the human being can step in. But my goal as a teacher has always been that the human doer is never stepping in, right? That she's always in her being state. It's a personal goal. Do I achieve it 100% of the time? Hell no, right? But I accept that. I accept that, and I have so many tools and skills to pull me out of that doingness that the impermanence of that doingness, it doesn't happen for long periods of time. And every year or every day or every breath, if we focus on that intent, and that's our sankalpa, right? That's our fierce life living intention. And we can take those life living intentions with us into the world to make it a better place, then so be it. Your goal is to become that human being, right? So how do you integrate that into your life? How do you do that? What are the tools that you need to do that? Self-awareness tools. That's it, guys. It's 100% free. Self-awareness tools. You don't need to buy anything in order to have these tools for yourself. It's your breath, okay? Acknowledging the breath keeps you present. Acknowledging the body. We just did a body scan this morning, on Facebook Live, body scan. I chose those things. Why? Because they're important to just here I am, notice here I am, notice here, notice here, notice here. And then boom, all of a sudden, oh, I think I'm in the present moment again. Where have I been? We're expert time travelers, right? We're always in the past. We're always in the future. We're always in the past. We're always in the future. So the time traveling becomes still. Boom. Present moment. Here I am. And we become less of those. And I'm really noticing the push to multitask. Okay. I'm noticing it now and how devastating it is to the quality of my life. I'm not in it. I'm not in my life. So what's the point of me going through a master's program? Or what's the point of me teaching a yoga class? Or what's the point of me spending time in the garden or with the kids if I'm going to time travel and try to multitask other things into that time? This is your sacred gift that the universe gave you, time. And the universe gave us all enough time. And I think on a global level, this needs to be heard because the tribes of the world who have maintained a slower paced way of living or are in tune with the earth or just cook that pot of soup and do that one thing, right, enhances the quality of your life. So your tools can start with that. What will enhance the quality of my life? And most of you will say, if I had more time. So why don't you? This is my question to you. What is your biggest number one complaint in your life? What are you constantly repeating in your psychology, in your consciousness of your being that you supposedly don't have or do have too much of? And how can you take that and turn that into something as a workable intention? Okay, that's the power of consciousness. That's the power of sankalpa. You can look that word up, Sankalpa, sankalpa, that meaningful intention. That's that power of living an intent and full life. So it's a lot to take in. That's why videos are nice. This is 15 years of tool making, right? That's coming out of me. This is the language that I live to speak, and when I don't speak it, makes me unwell and makes me in a space of unrest. So, and then the human doing comes out. So I encourage you to celebrate impermanence. I encourage you to celebrate your human beingness, and I encourage you to see that present moment awareness around you, right? Look at everyone around you and appreciate that full spectrum of everything that life has given you, that celebration, okay? Uncertainty, unschmertenty, impermanence is a wonderful thing, right? Every day that bud on that tree is going to grow farther and farther and farther until it becomes a flower, right? And then one day that flower is going to shrivel up and onto the next, and then a leaf will be in its space, and then a branch will be in its space, and then it's all going to just keep rejuvenating again and again, regenerating. That's a better word. So I wish you all well on this journey. If you're able to watch this today, it's a full moon. So go out into the moonlight, celebrate Mother Nature, celebrate all the gifts that the world has given us. Because this material stuff, it's really hardened us, and it's created this space of uncertainty, right? So you are who you are, you have what you have, accept yourself, and get those tools so you can move through the world with grace, okay? Grace, with vitality, with happiness. Love to you all. Namaste.